So after about 20 hours of playing this past weekend, I feel like I finally have a good handle on how to be a successful outlaw. Alright, maybe not a good handle yet, but I've picked up a few tricks along the way. Now, I'm sure a lot of you already know these tips, but these points here I'm going to be discussing are some of the most common things I see people confused about and asking online, or just some of the things I see other players in my lobby doing. Here are 8 things you might not have known about Hood, Outlaws, and Legends. Number 1. Adjusting the map size. Depending on your screen size, you might have had a hard time accurately reading your minimap. Console players like myself might be sitting far away from their TV, or maybe your monitor just isn't a curved 32-inch monster, so it can be tough to see the intricate layouts of some of the map interiors from the minimap alone. Sure, you can use the touchpad and just bring up the full map, but you're leaving yourself open to assassination. On your controller, if you press left on the directional pad, it increases your minimap size. Now after getting used to it, there's no way I can go back. Number 2. Selecting the proper settings. Before I get into discussing the actual gameplay mechanics, I really wanted to touch on the settings for Hood. Now I highly recommend, before you even start the game, after you finish the tutorial, go through and adjust your settings. For some ridiculous reason, on console, your sensitivity is already at its maximum by default. Now normally this wouldn't be an issue as you could just lower it to meet your needs. However, in this game, aiming at a snail's pace is what the developers intended for console players to be comfortable with. Now I'm not sure that the sensitivity is higher for mouse and keyboard users on PC, but the real tip here is to try and turn your cross-platform off just for the time being, until hopefully we can adjust our sensitivity at a later date and match those using a mouse and keyboard. By all means, you can still stomp on PC players, but you may be at a severe disadvantage using a controller and a capped sensitivity. You can't even party up at the moment with cross-platform, so there's really no need to have it on, considering the player base isn't suffering on console. Also, get rid of the camera shake. Who the fuck actually likes this? Nobody. Now switching gears and finally getting into the gameplay portion of the video, I wanted to talk about the fast winching method. I noticed that in about half my lobbies, players on the winch weren't utilizing the quick winch method. Normally you just hold the X or the A button to begin the winch in the last phase of the heist, but you can severely cut down the time in which you're cranking if you hold down the right trigger. The game gives you some visual feedback with sparks flying off the chains, and the only drawback is that in order to fast winch, it drains your stamina. So if you're being pushed by the enemy after this fast winch, you can't dodge or parry, so make sure that you only fast winch to the point in which your stamina can quickly regenerate, which now segues into number 4, stamina management. I notice a lot of low-level players and newer people running around with Little John, just mashing his heavy. Sure, it does do a lot of damage, but it drains almost a proportionate amount of stamina as well. Heavy attacks like John's can drain almost half of your whole bar. This is nuts considering that lights maybe do 10 to 20% in stamina cost. So don't blow your load trying to heavy and take out one guy, because if you exhaust your stamina, you'll be caught with your dick in your hand playing who gets recovery first. You're able to use any attack or dodge as long as there's something left in the stamina bar, but using a heavy when you've only got a sliver will exhaust you, forcing you to wait an extended period before regeneration begins. Try using your moveset efficiently. Getting your stamina down to a tick is fine as long as you back up and take an extra second to recover before re-engaging, and you'll probably catch the other player waiting on their lengthy stamina recharge, leaving them completely defenseless. If all else fails, you can always pull a Joseph Joestar and just run away, giving you some distance. Since running only consumes a small amount of stamina, there are some ways you can reduce the amount of stamina used for your moves through the perk system, which now leads me to leveling up through number 5, the quick level up method. Your perks are locked behind leveling milestones for your outlaws. Getting to a certain level allows you to purchase said perks and have benefits such as reduced stamina consumption. Fucking obviously right, you've played the game, but the real tip here is to be a little selfish if you want to level up quickly. Getting a win alone isn't always going to get your outlaw ranked up the quickest. You get 500 XP just for completing one of the 3 main objectives, such as pickpocketing or loot loading. These bonuses don't require you to even win the game, so an easy 1500 experience for sprinting through and taking the objectives for yourself won't make your teammates very happy.
Wow. Alright.
But you'll get those perks a lot quicker. You also get a solid 100 XP each time you use your ultimate, capture a spawn, or get an assassination. And Maid Marian's first perk allows you to double your assassination experience, making it 200 easy XP for hiding in a bush. Now speaking of stealth, number 6 focuses on stealth necessity and resupplies. A big question I see on the subreddit, and even a complaint really about the game, is how necessary is stealth really? Well, the whole game is built to be a stealth heist until you begin the extraction process. But I mean, 2 of the 4 characters aren't even suited for face-to-face confrontations, so it would make sense to stay sneaky all the way through. But honestly, there doesn't seem to be a large enough consequence for being discovered by the state. Sure, the gates close, but then you have John who opens them anyway, and yeah, the guards can gank you and really fuck your shit up if you let them, but the game provides you with enough tools to avoid getting cornered. At each spawn point and objective location, there will be a weapon and tool cache nearby, ensuring you can almost always get to a flashbang or smoke to keep the guards off you while you sprint through the compound. You do have that red outline on you for the other team to see, but staying in a group ensures you can't be outnumbered, and your biggest concern anyway should be the enemy trying for an insta-kill assassination. I can't count the amount of times I've started a match only to see the enemy bright red immediately at the beginning, which I suppose the main penalty being losing the element of surprise on the enemy team. If you're out of supplies and need to maintain stealth but want to avoid combat as well, I also don't see many people using their rocks. Hitting down on the D-pad brings up a rock to toss and takes the attention of any state NPC. You can even use them to lead the sheriff towards the enemy. Otherwise, completing objectives quickly doesn't really require a whole lot of stealth. Now going back to talking about melee characters, I wanted to bring up the soft lock mechanic. Now, I never really used it while playing Took or John initially, but I found that holding the left trigger allows me really to lock onto the opponent directly in front of me. It seems common sense while you're playing Robin or Maid Marian to use L2, aiming down the sights, but fighting against a newer John or a Friar Took, I see them miss a lot of their attacks. And I'm definitely guilty of this too. I would be throwing my flail into the ground like a fucking idiot when you're sure that you should have hit. But don't make the mistake of getting confused that you're playing for honor. L2 doesn't block, it only gives you a target. You still need circle to parry. Utilizing the lock-on mechanic, make sure you don't miss your heavy strikes anymore. Now finally brings us to number 8. I just wanted to mention how people are getting kind of complacent because you can hide just about anywhere, but nowhere is safe and you're in danger just about everywhere on the map. Yeah, the soldiers are as dumb as the rocks you throw at them, but the other players can and will find you anywhere. Climbing a ladder or rope to get to safety? Well, you should always assume that somebody is watching. Safe behind the gate? Nope. I'd only recommend using a ladder to escape when you're running from a John player and you end up in a goddamn Scooby-Doo chase scene.
Okay.
I'm here at the vault right now.
I'm keeping them busy.
Do we have the key? Where's the key?
Oh, we don't have the key.
Where is it?
So watch your surroundings. Just assume that someone's watching you at all times.
This one over here.
They're just, so they have one guy just waiting at their spawn.
Even when you're a Maid Marian doing your best John Cena impression. Just watch it. Someone's gonna get you from behind. Hiding in the bushes like you're in Assassin's Creed. Nope, your big fucking melon is reflecting the moonlight. Yeah, and there you have it. That's about it. 8 tips, tricks, things, hints, whatever you want to call it. Things you might not have known about the hood. I'm sure there's a lot of other things people are going to find out about this game as people keep playing it more and more, and eclipsing me in skill and player level. But I hope this helped at least one person learn something. If you guys know of anything else useful about Hood, how to get better, just let me know in the comments, whatever. And yeah, as always, thanks for hanging out.